It is that time of the day again. Welcome to the 4 to 5. Thanks for being with us. Eric Chilton here with Chad Silver and Lauren Coleman.
Hey, everybody.
Everybody waves. That's what we do.
Right.
Thanks for watching us on air, online, Fire Stick, Roku, and the News 2 app.
One of the top conversations we're going to have on Facebook today deal with the Tooth Fairy.
Ooh.
Yes.
National Tooth Fairy Day. So we're going to be talking about that coming up in the next half an hour. But in the meantime, let us know how much money you got as a child for your tooth from the Tooth Fairy.
Well, for now, we're going to jump into some developing news today. Police say a person is dead after an officer fired shots during a traffic stop. Investigators say it happened last night around 9 o'clock on West Market Street.
Now, police say when an officer tried to pull over a stolen car, the driver hit a police cruiser, which led to the shooting. WFMY News 2's Hunter Funk is live at the scene with an update. Hunter.
Yeah, Greensboro police say once the officer realized it was a stolen vehicle, that's when he approached the car and that driver drove away. They were later able to stop that car, and that's when police say passengers left the vehicle. Now, at this point, that's when police say the driver hit a police car and that shots were fired. And it's at this area where things came to a stop. Now, several businesses I spoke to were closed at the time, but the ones that were open say that they were thankful that everyone was okay. Their employees and their customers were safe at the time of the shooting. I also spoke to neighbors who described seeing police searching after the shooting, looking for those who ran away from the scene. They also described hearing the gunshots. Omar Mateen says he ran down after hearing shots outside his home. Mateen says he saw a lot of commotion and that it was difficult to see, keeping him up all night.
It's hard to explain because, you know, we all go to movies and we see these tragic events happen on theater, and to see it in real life, it does affect you in a way where it puts you on high alert just being a homeowner.
In Greensboro, police are conducting an internal investigation, and as standard protocol, they are placing the officer on administrative duty. Also, SBI is investigating this case.
Hunter, thank you. Of course, this is a developing story. As always, our smartphone app followers will be the first to get new information.
The Guilford County DA decided a deadly shooting outside of the Greensboro Police Department was justified. Investigators say an officer shot and killed Christopher Moore last August. They say Moore set a patrol car on fire, then attacked an officer. The DA says since the attack posed an immediate threat, the shooting was justified.
Eric, last night was one of those nights when I laid down in bed and I had a smile on my face because I could hear the rain tapping outside the window and I could hear the thunder a little bit. It was nice.
Yeah, it was kind of one of those days, you know. And by the way, you bring that up. Stick around for my 2 cents later on. We talk about rainy days and Mondays, not the song, but what people do on rainy days, like we have for the first half of the day today. Giving way to decent conditions, though, today. Once that front gets through us, we have a chance of a shower or two, but after that, smooth sailing. 82 in Greensboro and in Winston-Salem. We're at 81 in Reedsville. You look north and west, Mount Airy 74, Wilkesboro at 77. Here's that boundary, and you can see the clouds from really about Surrey County, Wilkes County east, and a line of showers getting ready to move through the heart of the triad in the next little bit. For right now, most of it is isolated in Stokes County, Surrey County, and parts of Yadkin County. That is moving east and south, just starting to move into the north central parts there up Forsyth County, just to the east of Highway 52 at the county line. So watch out for that. A couple of chances as we head into the evening, but the majority of this should be pushing through. Here's the cold front. Once that goes through, tomorrow ends up being a pretty good day. We're kind of tweaking our forecast as far as temperatures go. Really depends on that high pressure. Notice the front kind of stalls out a little bit down toward the coastal regions, just close enough to us that we can't take all the rain chances out, but I think we might bring them down a little bit as we head into the next couple of days. Some of the models are saying clear skies, and then some of them showing just a slight rain chance. Tonight, partly cloudy. Could see fog developing toward the morning hour, so understand that as you head out in the morning. It might slow you down in spots. That overnight low around 68. Tomorrow's high 86. Mainly dry, partly sunny sky. Let's take a look at our 7-day forecast with those temperatures. We're in the 80s, so no real major heat, but still low to mid 80s sums it up for the week. Tuesday and Wednesday, reduced rain chances, 86 degrees both days. 85 Thursday. Thursday, Friday, best chance of rain, a 40% chance. 85 Thursday. The coolest day is Friday with an 83 high. Our weekend looks perfect. Partly cloudy, 30% chance of a late day shower or storm. 85 Saturday, 84 Sunday, and back to 85 Monday with that slight late day shower or storm chance.
Let's get to your 4 to 5 roundup. Guilford County Schools parents and students get the chance to try out new safety equipment tonight at an open house. The district says body scanners are now up and running at all high schools. Schools also received recently updated security cameras and upgraded apps. They say the new installments will allow students to anonymously report incidents. GCS leaders also broke ground on 3 new schools today. Construction is now underway at Kaiser Elementary, Brooks Studies Global, and Claxton Elementary. The district plans to make full renovations using bond money approved by Greensboro voters. Some of the upgrades involve getting rid of all mobile classrooms, some which date to the 1970s. The district plans on rebuilding 22 schools and fully renovating 19 of them. Several school districts across the Triad still have quite a few teacher openings. Alamance Burlington County Schools told us today they still have 98 vacancies with 18 pending offers. At last check, GCS needed 38 teachers. They plan on using substitute teachers to fill the spots for now. The district also says it's short about 53 bus drivers.
The White House is encouraging states to ramp up teacher recruitment. Education Secretary Miguel Cardova is pushing state leaders to use COVID money to address teacher shortages. He says the money would come from the American Rescue Plan.
Right. It's not really about forcing, it's about working with them. But let's face it, this teacher shortage is a symptom of something that's been going on for longer than the pandemic, and that's a teacher respect issue. Unless we're serious about providing competitive salaries for our educators, better working conditions, so that they can continue to grow.
Cardona acknowledged hiring isn't a new issue, but got worse during the pandemic.
Yet the pandemic really pushed many of these educators out of the profession because in many cases, educators were not being respected when schools had to close. It created some tensions in our schools. We need to make sure we're supporting our educators, giving them the working conditions where they feel connected to the community and feel supported in the work that they're doing.
If you were a teacher before the pandemic and you were having some issues with just, morale and that kind of stuff, the pandemic certainly probably made it worse, especially the learning from home.
I remember us talking about that, the teacher shortage before the pandemic, and that's, it was a given. And I remember Texas being so proactive and paying so much that there were teachers leaving other states, including North Carolina, to go to Texas to teach. So this is not a new thing, but I think this is a great answer. If we can take money out of one bucket and put it somewhere else just to make it work right, I think we're on the right track.
I agree with you as well. And also in the time of inflation, cost of living is high, a lot of things are expensive. A lot of school teachers have a second job, or maybe they do summer school over the summer to help just maintain their living lifestyle. I know a lot of teachers back home from Northern Virginia, where I am from, have had to leave to go to other states because the cost of living there is just so high, and some of these teachers' salaries just don't maintain that kind of lifestyle. I
remember talking to a couple of teachers that said they qualified for retirement, but they didn't have to retire just yet, and they kind of enjoyed it. And then I've seen some of them go because they'll just say, I'm just hanging it up because now it's not what what it used to be,
right?
I guess. And that's a shame.
I just hope that each community does it responsibly, where you give a teacher a pay raise, but then you have to make sure that you continue that pay raise. You can't, after 3 years, you can't bring the salary back down. So you have to figure out how to do that as well.
Our teachers are just so important. They're the reason why we have our doctors and our lawyers and our professors and our scientists and pretty much everyone. Like they, plant the seeds for our future. So,
perfect.
Yeah.
All of us remember that teacher or a few teachers that inspired us. All right, we'll take a short break. We're coming back.
All right, I am talking about parents getting jitters about their kids going back to school. Yeah. That's all right.
There are lots of things going through families' minds as they prepare to go back to school next week. We often focus on back to school jitters for students, but parents, they can get anxious about the new year as well.
Psychology expert Blanca Cobb joins us live today with some suggestions to help those concerns, to ease those concerns. So Blanca, what is causing some of the back to school parent anxiety?
Surprisingly enough, parents generally have similar concerns as their kids when it comes to back to school jitters. Look, parents want their kids to have a great year. They want to make sure they have a good teacher, that their kids are accepted and respected in the classroom and don't have any problems with their friends, right? If their child needs any type of accommodation, a special learning accommodation, they want to make sure that it's met. So it's very similar.
How might a parent establish a good relationship with their child's teacher?
That's a great question, Chad. Look, this is what I say. You have to be friendly, you have to be helpful, and you also have to respect what the teacher requests. For example, there might be times where the teacher says, hey, I have this block of time where I can talk to parents. You want to make sure that you respect that block of time. If you only have 15 minutes, don't try to stretch it to 30. You have to realize this, teachers have a lot of students in their class that they're responsible for it. So they need to be able to make sure that they touch base with all parents. So when you follow those guidelines, it really lets a teacher know that you respect them. And guess what? They're going to have that same level of respect for you.
So Blanca, what about communicating with the teacher? What is appropriate?
When you want to communicate with the teacher, sometimes parents feel like they have to make demands. You don't want to make demands. You want to make sure that you're communicating as an ally, not an adversary. So what that means is you want to ask questions instead of making demands. Ask their opinion, ask for suggestions, tell them what your concern is and say, hey, how can we help my child in the classroom with X, Y, or Z problem? Listen to what the teacher has to say, and then you can say something like, I hear what you're saying, I think this is going to work, or I think it may not work because of these reasons. So again, you want to treat the teacher as a colleague where you're going to solve that problem together. You're going to get along so much better and get further in getting what you want for your child.
Some good advice, Blanca. Thank you. You can continue the conversation with her on her Facebook page. Just search Blanca Cobb, Body Language Expert.
We're helping students and teachers start the year right with our Tools for School drive. Put newly purchased supplies in donation boxes at participating Walmart stores. We're also having a one-day supply drive this Wednesday. That's at the Walmart on Battleground Avenue. The supply drive runs through September 5th. And throughout the back to school season, we're focusing on stories that matter most to parents. Let us know any concerns or questions you'd like us to cover. Just text the word survey to this number, 336-379-5775, and we'll respond with a link to our parent survey. We'll be right back.
You know, she was known as the beloved Thelma Lou, Barney's girlfriend on the Andy Griffith Show. Betty Lynn passed away last October, but her long-awaited autobiography will debut in Mount Airy next Monday. Her love affair with Mount Airy was obvious. Co-author Jim Clark says it was a huge part of her life.
She moved to Mount Airy in 2007 after having been to Mayberry Days for several years, and she really came to love the town just from those visits. And then also while in LA, where she lived for about 50 years or more, she had several burglars at her house and that kind of thing, and just felt unsafe in LA, and it just got to be where it wasn't, I guess, Mayberry enough for her. So where else better to go than Mount Airy.
Clark said that Betty Lynn's career was huge even before the Andy Griffith Show, when she entertained our troops overseas.
Back in World War II, she was in the USO and was right in India, in the China, Burma, India theater, and was right there where the action was. I mean, she wasn't in combat, but she was right there entertaining the troops who were very close to the front lines. And she had some really harrowing experiences, and talks quite a bit about that in the book. And that was something before I started knowing Betty, I didn't have any idea that she'd done all that.
She also spent time in Broadway productions as well, but it was always Thelma Lou that made her smile. She
Clearly thought that the Andy Griffith Show was a highlight of her life, just as Andy Griffith did, or professional life anyway. And most Don Knotts, they all said that was the best work they ever had, best job, most fun. But Betty was so grateful about everything in her life. That was probably the one thing I would sum up with her most, would be that she felt so much gratitude for friends and for people that she met, just the fans that she met, and the career that she had. She felt she had a really blessed life. She was super sweet. I got to meet her many times, and every time I'd see her, she'd always say, "There's my weatherman." That's why she's so cute. She was in a wheelchair at that point. Jim, by the way, he helped co-author this. So basically just helped her get her stories together and get them on paper and all that. And this book comes out. They're doing the debut party in Mount Airy next Monday, and you can buy it. If you look for this story online, we've got information where you can check it out.
This is huge. I absolutely love autobiographies.
I do too.
I love learning about just the different little nuggets about someone's life, of how they got to where they are. And then I also like the pictures that are inside them. And I was reading that there's about 140 special pictures in there.
I know what it was 400 pictures.
400.
Like they put a ton of pictures in, which is a perfect book for me, since I like the pictures. But I like you said, it shows her with Jimmy Stewart, shows her with all these famous actors that she did stuff with before the show.
Probably never before seen, footage, photos.
I bet you're looking forward to reading it, especially knowing, that you did know her and you had kind of a relationship with her.
She was so sweet, and if she told me a funny story, I'll try to make this real quick, but it's kind of the way Hollywood used to be. So she was a minor character. I mean, a major. Everybody knew her, but that she wasn't Andy, Opie, or Barney, which are the main ones, right? And so she said one time my agent and I went in and we were asking for a raise, and I said, "What did they say?" And she said the producer went, "Barney can get a new girlfriend." And she said, and she went, My salary's just fine. I'll just stay with this.
We're good over here.
I said, wow.
It's tough. I mean, that's show business, right?
And it was a big show back then. It was huge. Anyway, that book should be good. Everybody should check it out. Quick note, Jim Clark is president of the Andy Griffith Show Rerun Watchers Club, which he started in college as a joke, and then it grew in the 90s to some big thing. And that's why, if you notice behind him, he had all that memorabilia, because he's a huge fan, and his hometown is Greensboro. He lives in Nashville, Tennessee. But there you go.
Cool.
Yeah, sure, it's going to be selling like hotcakes.
I hope so. All right, let's talk about our forecast and see if we have any changes there for you. Really just mentioning a couple of showers here and there. That's the biggest thing. Temperatures are cooperating for the most part, low 80s, except for our northern counties and northwest. We're in the mid to upper 70s there. Martinsville, Virginia with 76. We've got Danville at 82, Greensboro 82, Burlington 83, Lexington at 82, along with Winston-Salem, and 74 in Walnut Cove. You look across the region, and one more little line of showers here. We can't really rule out this even into the night, but I think once this first line is through, if we were to see much of anything else, it'd just be an isolated sprinkle or two. Northern Forsyth County getting a little bit of rain right now. That's right along Highway 52 and just to the west of that. This is all pushing south, so if you're in Summerfield, right around that 220 and I-73 area, you'll see some rain in the next 15 minutes. Again, this will move all the way through the entire viewing area, we think, as we go through the night. Notice that it's still a little bit unsettled up behind that. I just don't know how much of that will be able to make it over the mountains. I think we'll end up in pretty good shape once the front clears us. There's the cold front. That moves on down to the south. Kind of got a battle between the these two high pressures to hold it there for a little bit, but we're thinking and hoping that by the time we may see variably to partly cloudy skies over the next couple of days, but it's going to be, we're right on the edge of that high pressure to the north and the proximity of that cold front. So southern Piedmont may see more clouds than, say, our southern Virginia county. So watch out for that. 68 will be the low tonight. Partly cloudy, fog will develop, and that usually happens toward morning hours, so be careful. Otherwise, highs tomorrow at 86, partly sunny, mainly dry. We'll keep a 20% chance of a shower in as a just in case. Hold that into Wednesday, that high 86 degrees for Tuesday, Wednesday, 85 Thursday. Best rain chances Thursday, Friday at a 40%. That's still not a washout. Friday, the coolest day at 83. Your weekend is perfect. Typical summer forecast here. Mid-80s, partly cloudy, 30% chance of a late day shower. That's for Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Our overnight lows for the most part lock in around 67 to 68 degrees for the next week. All right, I did not write this, but I'll read it. Wiggle to the left, wiggle to the right. If you got a loose tooth, a fairy might visit tonight. Nicely done, Kayana wrote that, our producer. It is National Tooth Fairy Day, and this childhood tradition goes back for centuries. But with recent inflation, everything has gone up, including the going price for teeth, apparently. So we want to know, how much did the Tooth Fairy leave you as a kid? Carolyn Eccles said, I got 25 cents. Beth Miller said, I'm 58 and I got 25 cents as well. Tony said a dime to a quarter, depending on how good I've been. It was usually a dime. Wanda said we were all given a quarter. And Kim says, I think I got an IOU. Oh no, that's so long ago, I don't even remember. I know that my kids now are getting like between $3 and $5 a tooth, so inflation is like, oh, I looked it up. The average in North Carolina is $5.
Ooh, that's a lot more than what I got. For me, I got $1, but I think I shared this story before. I was still trying to sleep in my parents' bed, probably at like 5 or 6, and my mom said, kids that don't sleep in their own beds don't get a full $1. Ooh. So I only got 75 cents because I only slept in my bed for half the night. And then I was like, I got to make sure I get my money. I'm sleeping in my own bed.
So I'd asked on Facebook, Melita said that she got a quarter when she lost them as a child, but they're worth a lot more these days. I was $1, and I actually had a tooth box.
Yes, I did too. I remember
It was
that.
like a little wooden box, and you
on a
open it up, and
hinge.
it was big enough to fit a single tooth. And then when I woke up in the morning, there was $1 folded up inside of the box.
Oh, I do remember that.
The thing that's amazing about this is I never woke up in the middle of the night.
So to the tooth fairy, right?
Yeah, I never woke up, and I remember once as a child trying to stay up all night to
Yes.
see if I could see her.
Yes.
Or
I did
him,
that too.
and I still fell asleep. I never felt it.
I wanted to. I was like, yeah, I would try so hard, and I couldn't do it. And I'd wake up and look at the clock and go, oh, I missed it.
Yeah.
You know?
It's like Santa, too, the same way.
thing.
I tried to
Same
stay
way.
up for him too, but before we go to break, I got to see you wiggle to the left and to the right.
Lauren and I were trying to come up with a dance where we go.
And it was good.
Wiggle to the
This is
right.
the newest TikTok dance.
The tooth
It
fairy
started
dance.
right here.
We'll be back.
Hi, mic check 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Mic check, mic check. Mic check, mic check, mic check.
It's the 4 to 5, and what's more important is that Chad and I were talking about a new winery that I had never heard of.
That's true. Pilot Mountain Vineyard
really cool.
and Winery. It just opened 2 years ago. I went there over the weekend, so
Beautiful.
I'm going to post about it later on Facebook.
Very good. Very
Something
good.
else to try to put on my list of
It's
so many
growing.
things to
You
do.
have a long list.
I do have a long
It
list.
rolls across the floor.
You know what also has a long list? All the ways that you can watch the 4 to 5. You can watch us on Fire Stick,
nice.
Roku, and the WFNY News 2 at Facebook.
Smooth.
So many ways to watch.
And
She's
when
so
you're in
smooth.
Facebook, we have a conversation coming up later this half hour where we're determining which is the best age to get a child a cell phone. So let us know in the comments, and we'll be talking about that just in a little bit.
Yep, that's been a big talker today, but also we do have some developing news that we want to get an update on. Police say a person is dead after an officer fired shots during a traffic stop. Investigators say it happened last night around 9 o'clock on West Market Street.
And police say when an officer tried to pull over a stolen car, the driver hit the cruiser, which led to the shooting. They say other people in the car got out and ran.
Several neighbors say they heard the commotion unfold. We spoke with one man who says the noise from the scene kept him up all night.
hard to explain because, you know, we all go to movies and we see these tragic events happen on theater, and to see it in real life, it does affect you in a way where it puts you on high alert just being a homeowner.
Terrifying situation. Right now, Greensboro police are conducting an internal investigation, and as standard protocol, the officer is placed on administrative duty. The SBI is also investigating. This is a developing story. As always, our smartphone app followers will be the first to get the new information.
Couple of showers moving through the area as we speak. We talked about that over the last couple of days. It's kind of more of a typical summertime situation for us. Temperatures today, for the most part, our northern counties are seeing those 70s. And by the way, the reason for that too, notice that the proximity of the front here. So if you're in these southern Virginia counties around Galax and that neck of the woods, Wytheville, Virginia, they're much cooler than even they normally are from our temperatures because that cold front is moving by. So if you're in the Allegheny, Ashwaubenon, northern Wilkes area and our southern Virginia counties, we'll see some mid to upper 70s right now for current temperatures, but for the rest of us, they'll be in the low 80s. That is the front getting ready to move by. If we go in closer here, some showers moving through Stokes County, a little bit in northern Yadkin, southern Surrey County, seeing that, and all of this is drifting to the east. So if you have to be traveling along Highway 52 from Mount Airy toward Winston-Salem, about the time you get to King, you're going to see some heavier rains. Northern Forsyth County seeing that as well. Reedsville with a little bit, and Summerfield also just north of Summerfield to the county line in Rockingham County. Watch for this to develop and push through as we head into the evening. So can't rule it out, but it's not going to be a washout, that's for sure. That front moves by, leaves us with good stuff for the next several days. We've got 86 to 85 for high temperatures. Tuesday, Wednesday, mainly dry, I think, on those 2 days, but we'll bring rain chances back. 40% Thursday, Friday afternoon and evening, 85 Thursday, coolest day Friday at 83, and your weekend and into Monday, mid-80s with a normal 30% chance of a late day storm.
Lots of students will be going back to school next week. Most Triad students go back on Monday. Some early and middle colleges and extended school years started earlier this month. Several Guilford County schools are holding open houses today. One of the big changes for high schools this year, those touchless body scanners. We talked to some families about their thoughts on them.
My thought process is I feel pretty comfortable with it, considering the things that are going on nationwide, considering the things that are happening all over the world. I feel pretty good in knowing that my ninth grader, who's an only child, so it's kind of like I got one shot at this, is coming into a place that is kind of giving great thought to how we can protect our students or better protect our students.
Last year, it was like almost a school shooting, but it wasn't. But it'd be a lot of kids trying to shoot schools up because how they feel with the kids.
Now, schools also have updated security cameras and upgraded apps, which will allow students or staff to anonymously report any incidents. Middle school open houses are tomorrow, followed by elementary schools on Wednesday.
GCS leaders are also getting ready for major upgrades to 3 schools. They broke ground today at Kaiser Elementary, Brooks Global Studies, and Claxton Elementary. The district plans to make full renovations using bond money approved by Greensboro voters. Members of Kaiser Alumni Association say they're excited to see how the new school will impact students.
I feel very good about it because the initial plan was to shut this school down, tear it down, and it would be no longer. And I feel like I've contributed a part to making sure that Kaiser would always remain Kaiser. I'm glad to see this day that we are getting a world-class type building to sort of go along with the world-class students and faculty here at this school.
Some of the changes involve getting rid of all mobile classrooms, some of which date to the 1970s. The district plans on rebuilding 22 schools and fully renovating 19 of them. This has to be exciting for the people who live in that community, who have seen that school there for so many years, and it probably just gives a sense of pride to the students that will be going there this school year as well.
And so many memories too for the staff and the former students that still, like you said, that live there and said, I went to that school, I'd hate to see it torn down. So now that they're renovating things. I've been in some of those schools that need renovations, and they really need the renovations.
I want to go back to the open houses. Do you all remember going to open houses when you were kids? I was always so excited excited just to kind of meet the teachers, see where my desk was going to be, just kind of see the classroom, the layout, my locker.
Your friends you probably hadn't seen over the summer, maybe. Yeah, I always loved school growing up, so I was a big back to school person too.
And the cubby. Remember when you were
cubby,
really little? The cubby was a big deal.
Is your cubby next to my cubby?
Right.
I remember one of my friends changing the seating names, trying to get me and him beside each other, and I saw him do it. He was like, walked away. The teacher's like, no.
I love that Eric says that like it was one of his friends when it was actually him.
Yeah.
Doing it.
No, it was
I caught that too.
I was too scared to do that. My dad was superintendent. I had to walk along.
Oh, yeah, I bet you did.
I did.
Well, we're helping students and teachers start the year right with our Tools for School drive. Put newly purchased supplies in donation boxes at participating Walmart stores. We'll also have a one-day supply drive this Wednesday at the Walmart on Battleground Avenue. The supply drive runs through September 5th. And throughout the back-to-school season, we're focusing on the stories that matter to parents the most. Let us know any concerns or questions you'd like us to cover. Just text the word survey to 336-379-5775 and we'll respond with a link to our parent survey.
All right, time now for your 4 to 5 roundup. First up today, Pfizer is seeking authorization for its newest COVID-19 vaccine that adds protection against the Omicron variants. The move is a key step forward to a fall booster campaign. The FDA ordered vaccine makers to tweak their shots to deal with these new variants. If the FDA quickly clears Pfizer's combo shots, boosters could be offered within weeks. Moderna is expected to file a similar application soon. Dr. Anthony Fauci says he will step down from government service in December. He became a household name during the pandemic as the nation's top infectious disease expert. Before COVID, he was a leader in the federal response to HIV/AIDS and other infectious diseases. Federal health leaders are boosting supply of the monkeypox vaccine because of a surge in new cases. To meet the growing demand, the CDC is now encouraging 1/5 of the dose be administered just under the skin, arguing it'll stretch supply. The White House says it'll distribute almost 2 million doses to regions that will adopt this change. Doctors are also tracking the numbers of infected children. There have been 12 confirmed cases in the country.
We have an answer to the biggest question in the Panthers preseason. Baker Mayfield wins the starting quarterback role, beating out Sam Darnold. WFNY News 2's Amanda Ferguson joins us to talk about the decision. Amanda.
It was a unique situation for the Carolina Panthers, having Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield compete for the starting spot. But it's now over and Baker Mayfield is the starter. Head coach Matt Rule announcing the decision this morning. He says when it comes to the starting role, he was looking at 3 things: mastering the offense, being good at situational football, and moving the ball. Rule says Baker has grown into all of those areas in a short time with the team. So he's the guy. The Panthers have Sam Darnold and PJ Walker still on the roster, and also Matt Corral, who just suffered a foot injury Friday night. It'll probably keep him out the entire season. So not sure what they're going to do going forward with him when it comes to roster spots, but the plan all along was to keep 3 quarterbacks.
I don't think this was a big shock.
No,
not
I
at
don't
all.
think so either.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. And I think it was good that they waited until now because it gave the other quarterbacks a chance, and it kind of, when you're up against, a deadline or you're up against potential cuts, I mean, you tend to play better, right?
And you want them to have that desire to still.
Absolutely.
And you don't know, he could be hurt. You don't know. I mean, what's going to happen? The PJ and those guys, they have to be ready to go. But
It was
I think,
good competition.
Yes, that's right. Well, do you think? I think. So I didn't watch. I only saw the second half of the game the other night. So did Baker play early on, or did they even play him?
No, they didn't play him.
That's what I thought.
It was just PJ and Matt Corral.
So it was their chance to show up, I guess.
But Baker will start this Friday against the Bills.
Okay,
in the last
great. So he's going to be playing. All right. I even went, as soon as I saw the alert today that they named him starting quarterback, I'm a big bandwagon guy. So I hopped on Amazon to look for a Baker Mayfield Panthers shirt. So I found one. So I'm looking forward to that.
Now you're set.
I'm ready to go. I have hope. And maybe that's my biggest flaw is every time we get a new quarterback, I have hope. But I'm hopeful that maybe this will be the one.
If this isn't the right season, then Matt Rule may be in trouble. We'll see how that goes. That's something I've been watching. I was wondering about this season, but now they gave him the green light. He's got to show up now.
Right.
We'll see.
I was hearing Sean Higgins talk yesterday about how this kind of leaves an extra space for somebody else to make the roster in a different position, basically, because they don't need another quarterback, right? With Matt Corral out, so it might mean a different position player will be able to make that cut. So I guess we'll see.
I'll take a defensive guy.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
Well, before we head to break, I wanted to remind you to vote for our Friday Football Fever Game of the Week. The poll is already live. Just go to WFNYnews2.com, click on the Sports tab, and select Game of the Week. You've got 5 great games to choose from. They're all right here on your behind me. Grimsley versus Reagan, Battle of High Point versus Andrews in Central. Oak Grove taking on West Forsyth. Eastern Guilford heads to East to face Burlington Williams, or North Davidson taking on Northwest Guilford. Vikings versus Knights. It's pretty cool, so head on over to our website and vote as many times as you want. Voting closes on Wednesday.
Parents know the struggle of trying to determine when their child is ready for a cell phone. How much screen time is the next question. The American Academy of Pediatrics has some advice.
Bennett Cox is busy with sports, so he hasn't been on his iPad much this summer.
I mostly play games because I can friend my friends and then we can play together.
His mom, Leslie, has been thinking about getting the 11-year-old a cell phone.
A little nervous with social media, cyberbullying, things like that, but he's in a lot of sports and over friends' houses, and it might be easier for us to make plans if he had one.
The American Academy of Pediatrics and AT&T are launching tools to help families decide if kids are ready for a phone and help create safe, responsible media and technology use.
People have used like parent controls and other sort of monitoring technology, but that's not the only answer. A lot of it's going to be about saying to your kids, hey, show me your digital world. Show me what games you play or what YouTubers you follow, and have healthy conversations.
This questionnaire asks, does your child keep track of their things and whether you trust their judgment when you aren't there, to gauge if the family is in the ready zone or not yet. Parents can also build a customized media plan for the whole family.
What boundaries do you want to set around technology so kids can have healthy sleep, they can have undistracted homework time, whatever is important to your family, controlling tech and enjoying it, not feeling controlled by it.
Bennett thinks he is responsible enough for a cell phone.
I'll tell my mom if I'm watching something that's not good, because sometimes it just pops up.
The kids should be out playing, not sitting at home on the iPads or, doing social media stuff.
Leslie says it's best when kids can just be kids without screens.
So when is a good time to give a child or a teen a cell phone? I asked you to weigh in on my Facebook page, and we got a lot of different responses. Cassia Kathy says, back in the day, I bought my son a cell phone once he started middle school. He was walking home from school and was participating in after-school activities. Linda Plummer wrote, depends on maturity, maybe 8. Depends on what they are doing with it, must have restrictions. Charlie White, our child is 12, and I don't think we're quite there yet. Colin Jones, I really don't know. I have a 9-year-old and I honestly can't remember her not having one. And then Don Kinsey said, when they get a job.
So we have changed a little bit with this in our house. The twins got them, I think they were 14 when we got them cell phones. But Tyler now is 12, and and he's going to middle school this year. So in middle school, they are participating in after-school activities. So we wanted him to be able to get in touch with us. So we got him a cellular-enabled Apple Watch, so he can still call and text or whatever. And we're thinking we're going to do that, maybe with Drew, our youngest, too, when she turns 12, and until they get to high school, and then give them a smartphone. But I've seen some of my friends' kids; they get them when they're like 6 or 7. In our house, we just don't think that's good. That's
kind of young.
For them. Yeah.
But it is case-to-case basis. Like safety is a priority, or if you're participating in activities or something, and if you do have a child that young, maybe their parents are divorced and they live in different households and they need that for some form of communication. I know for me, I got a prepaid cell phone in 8th grade because I was doing after-school activities, and it was only used to call my parents to pick me up from school. And then the summer before 9th grade, I got an actual cell phone, with data where I could text and do all that kind of stuff.
I think a junior year for me, junior year of high school, I got my first cell phone, but this is going to be a sign of the times here. So when I was a sophomore, my parents said, you can either get you a cell phone or you can get your own landline in your bedroom. Oh. And I went with landline. I had because nobody else, the time at which I grew up, nobody else had cell phones. So who am I going to call?
Oh, so you were back in the Fresh Prince era where they had the huge.
My mom had a bag phone in her car. Remember, it was it was like a cord phone.
It's gigantic.
Plugged it in the cigarette lighter.
Oh yeah.
So my parents, when I was 12, they got me my own landline. And there were no cell phones back then, so they got me a landline because I talked so much on the phone that my dad couldn't get business calls. So they were like, "Okay, now you can talk to all you want to."
Yeah. Remember when the phones were connected to the internet and everyone would be like, "Get off the phone! I'm trying to send an email."
Right. Yeah.
Right. Oh gosh.
Dial-up.
Times have
Gotta
changed.
love dial-up.
We'll be back. You know, if you keep the umbrella handy, you'll only need it for a little bit heading into the evening. So I would say just an isolated shower is probably the best way to term this. 82 degrees in Greensboro. We dropped to 77 in Reedsville. Walnut Cove 75, Mount Airy 77, 83 for High Point and Asheboro, and 81 in Lexington. We go up to 86 for Troy in Montgomery County. Here's the front moving back down to the south here. Let's go in a little bit tighter, and you can see scattered showers in southern parts of Surrey County, also in southern Stokes, northern Forsyth County, and now a little bit toward Reedsville and Summerfield. It's been hanging out. It's funny, moving from the northwest back down to the southeast, but now it's almost direct west to east with the shift in the winds behind that front. So watch for this kind of moving across the viewing area. Everybody has a shot at this as the cold front tries to clear the area. It may take a while. Here's what it looks like on our surface chart. There's the cold front, moves back down to the south. Now we're into Tuesday morning, Tuesday afternoon. See how it's kind of lingering a little bit. So we're watching this. I think some of the models are a little confused because we're right on the edge of this. See how clear it is in Virginia, and then across our state we could see a couple of clouds. So let's just say partly sunny for tomorrow. Can't rule out a shower, but it should be more isolated than not because we think the majority of the rain will be off the coast. That is something that we'll be watching though for sure. So overnight lows tonight at 68, partly cloudy. Maybe see some fog developing toward the morning hours. We had a little bit of that this morning, so watch out for that. High tomorrow at 86, partly sunny, mostly dry. Here's the extended outlook with a reduced 20% chance of a shower Tuesday, Wednesday with highs at 86. Thursday, Friday, rain chances go up to 40%. 85 Thursday, coolest day, 83 on Friday. And for your weekend, not bad. Mid-80s for us, partly cloudy. We'll have plenty of sunshine first part of the day and then an isolated late day shower or storm. $100 to see you drive.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. It's always weird.
Mic check 1, 2, 3. Mic check 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
Hi there, Tom. I'm walking. If I sound funny, it's because I'm walking.
Mic check 1, 2, 3. Mic check 1, 2, 3. I hope that they're plugged in.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
But I'll take it. He was like, okay. Mic check 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. Mic check, 1, 2, 3.
All right, folks, it's time for my 2 cents, and today I want to talk about rainy days and Mondays. Not the Carpenter song, just the actual rainy days and Mondays. So I was looking online and I found a poll. They listed a few things that they said are the top things that people like to do when you have the day off and it's just a rainy, nasty day. Catch up on sleep was one. I second that wholeheartedly. Clean the house. Read a book, watch TV or play video games, and crafts with the kids. That was kind of the top list. So it got me to thinking, what do I love? I mean, I would choose any of those, but I fall in line with what Tanya Rivera said when I asked her. Tanya says, PJs all day, reading a book or a magazine, and she said she likes Our State magazine. So do I. Our reporter, Amber Lake, said clean. She said, I can't sit still. I can't just relax. Don't do that well. So she cleans the house. Amber, you're invited over any rainy day. Megan Malaris said keep the kids occupied by playing games or whatever it takes, and then if there is any extra time, read. And she said, quote, #mom life, never a day off. So true. Our reporter Hunter Funk said a movie, but I like this. She likes to watch movies on rainy days. I get that. But with the windows open so she can hear the rain. That's kind of like at my house. My wife loves thunderstorms because she likes to sit inside and look at them out through the window. I kind of agree that. For me, it's PJs all day, watching TV, maybe playing some video games with my kids, and just kind of relaxing. I have trouble sleeping, and catching up on sleep usually doesn't happen. So when I think about all this, it sort of brings me back to rainy days aren't necessarily a bad thing, right? It forces you to kind of nest with the family and relax a little bit. So take that to heart when you look at the forecast and you go, it's a rainy day and it's a Monday. It's not all bad. But that's just my 2 cents. And that's your 4 to 5 WFMY News 2 at 5 starts now.
We begin with breaking news right now on WFMY News 2 at 5 o'clock. Greensboro police identified the driver killed in an officer-involved shooting as a 17-year-old. Police say 2 other teens were also in the car.
Police say it started as a routine traffic stop, then escalated when investigators say the teen behind the wheel of the stolen car hit a police